Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown halftime show live in between the halves of the Celtics and the Trailblazers. Dave, what are you
What's
wearing?
up? Well, I had to break out the headband because I know you how much you hate
All right, well, I had tweeted out last night, in case anybody doesn't know, that there's something about headbands that makes me really frustrated. I don't like seeing them on players, and I can't understand why, but you know what? You want to defend them, so
I
what's your
do. So
sentence
here,
of, yeah.
as you can see, nothing here to catch the sweat, right? So it's just my eyebrows. So with the headband, you don't get all the sweat in your eyes, so it serves a purpose.
All right, I guess so. I don't know. Something about it, like I don't know, and maybe it's just the particular players that are doing it anyway. I don't like their games, and so they just happen to be wearing the headband. But it looks like the quality is really good. We are now broadcasting live on not only Periscope but on where are we? YouTube and Facebook. So if you want to watch this on any of those platforms, make sure to head over to our new Facebook, our new YouTube live channel. It's in the Twitter stuff, and we'll have to somehow I'll shout it out on my next YouTube regular channel video. But we have a brand new YouTube live show where all of our live stuff is going to go, and you can find it on Periscope, find it on Facebook. So thanks for joining us wherever you might be. What are your thoughts so far, Dave, on this game at halftime?
Well, I was just saying that Boston looks exhausted. I think everyone right now just looks really tired. I mean, it's a great time for the All-Star break to be right around the corner. And I think they looked tired the other night in Sacramento, and they came out super flat in this game. I think they only put up 21 in the first quarter and gave up 31. I think they were down 10. This is just off the top of my head. But then there in the last 4 or 5 minutes, Isaiah Thomas just went off and scored 14 in the second quarter. Now, but this harkens back to, what Marcus Smart said the other day. The Celtics cannot just rely on Isaiah Thomas to provide all of their offense. They have to find offense somewhere else. So while it was nice to see them, kind of decide to start playing in this game, they were down 17 at one point. This is far from, okay, well, they figured it out and they're turning the corner.
I agree. Although it got really exciting and furious out there. Both teams, I can't remember seeing both teams go back and forth cutting so much. I mean, backdoors on by Portland, and then the ball is being spread and handoffs by the Celtics. It's a really great sort of similar attacks in a similar way with similar speed. It's frenetic, and that's sort of I think what got Boston back in this game by getting much better shots and just more energy going.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that, surprisingly, they were actually able to hang with Portland when they switched to this faster pace. I mean, Portland, that's how they kind of got to play. As we saw the other night against the Mavericks, like they're at their best when they're just pushing the pace. So I think more surprising was that the Celtics responded. I even said, if the Celtics come out in the third quarter playing as lethargic as they had for the first quarter and a half of this game, I think Brad Stevens should just get ejected. I mean, if the Celtics are going to take the night off, he should get the night off.
Interesting, and who knows, that might spark him again. I loved. Okay, so Isaiah gets to the hoop and gets fouled. For some reason, Myers Leonard seems to be getting into these confrontations with people. I guess he's a little physical, but I love how he walked by him, had his hands up in the air, and just gave him a little bit of business with the elbow. I didn't think that they could review that. And so I was like, okay, way to mark your territory as the pit bull, little guy. But they reviewed it and they teed him up. I don't think Isaiah had that intention.
Yeah, I think it was like you described it. I think Isaiah was. I think that's a good way for him to just be like assertive, right? Like he's asserting himself. I don't know that it was necessarily worth a technical. That might be a little nitpicky, but by the letter of the rules, it's a technical. It was contact.
That could start fights. I could see. I mean, that's not always the easiest. You got to kind of keep that clean. And it probably was worth it, I suppose, to make the point.
Oh, something we missed. Celtics Rise is letting us know on Periscope. Apparently, Myers Leonard fouled Isaiah very difficult.
You mean
very, very hard? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, he fouled him.
I was reading something else.
Okay.
Apparently, he fouled him in a hard fashion.
Oh, payback from a game before, it looks like.
Yeah.
Aha. Well, that's good to know. We must have missed that. And so, I mean, I'm also referencing the whole Boogie thing, which was a thing that like Boogie keeps trying to injure Myers Leonard. It sounds like these days. So,
I talked to Dane Carbaugh about this,
yeah.
and it just seems like nobody likes Myers Leonard. And his theory is that Myers Leonard is just so good looking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I mean,
like
he
they think
certainly
he's
is
a
statue.
punk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like they think he's a punk. I mean, he's not a good basketball player, so.
There was a moment when he was a good shooter and it was going to be poised to be good. I guess he has not been able to maintain that, huh?
I can't believe the Knicks didn't trade for him.
Okay.
I mean, he'd be a good triangle center.
You have a point, right? And he can also dribble handoff. He has that ability. So yeah, I mean, I think they definitely expected a lot more from him and more progression for this year by now that they're not getting. And so it's a conundrum, I suppose. But yeah, and it's also this weird. Like, is he a fake tough guy? Is he a real tough guy? Is he a pretty boy? We don't know. But
I don't think anybody.
Yeah.
Who's tough on a basketball court? I don't know that it serves any purpose. Like, I'm more concerned, like, hey, can you finish with both hands? Can you play defense?
Yeah.
Like that's much more concerning to me. And I don't know if Myers can do those things.
That's true. I mean, I have faith. I still feel like, he can be a guy that can pick and pop and shoot a three and stretch the floor, but he is by no means enough of a presence as a big guy, considering he is like probably 7 feet and just huge. But I also love the interaction that we saw with Scott Foster and Isaiah Thomas after the technical foul, where some version where you can read his lips was something like the referee Scott Foster was saying, "You hit him. You know what you did."
Right.
And I think Thomas was like, yeah, okay, whatever, and like shrugged and walked away. It was hilarious. I just loved that. It wasn't, but also Scott Foster's look at him while he was sort of trying to explain like what he did, and he's just looking at him going, yeah, you what are you doing? You know what you did. So anyway.
Yeah, it's like when you try to get one past your mom, and she gives you that look. That's what he did. It was really funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. Somebody just asked for a prediction for Cavs or Warriors Thunder on Saturday. It's Thursday and it's halftime. Maybe we'll talk about that in the post game. So what are your thoughts? What do you think? Boston just looks flat, right?
I mean, flat enough that they got a deficit and they having trouble getting back in the game, but they certainly didn't look flat getting back in, going on those runs with Isaiah. But they definitely are. They're a step behind on defense. They are just sort of letting the Blazers get open, break him down off the dribble. Lillard looked really good in parts as well. I kind of want to quickly check the box score here. So Lillard has 15 points on 5 of 11 shooting and 2 for 4 from 3. So he looked better than I've seen him in a couple games I've recently watched that I've caught. And then CJ had just a vicious crossover step back on the left side and is doing some work there with 11 points. But yeah, so I would imagine it just feels like maybe they go on a run, the Blazers do, and that's going to be it for the Celtics.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. If I'm Brad Stevens right now in the locker room, I'm talking to Marcus Smart and I'm talking to Jaylen Brown, and I'm telling them to be more aggressive against these guys that are guarding them that are much smaller. Both of those guys have nice little post-up games, and I would not be shocked if you see them come out of the half trying to exploit those matchups in particular.
Yeah, I love that they had that little Brad Stevens audio bite of him telling Rozier, just shoot it off when you come off the pick and roll. And then sure enough, he did, and he nails it. And I know that Fratello had a nice little comment about that. That's good coaching. And it is. It's to be able to empower your team, especially, this is a February game. And Brad Stevens is the only thing we've had an issue with, I think, as we're looking at the season so far. His lineups are all over the place. He's playing lineups he hasn't ever played before. Even tonight, there's some weird ones. And I feel like he's just in some big petri dish. And he's just like, let's find out. Maybe you can hit it. Let's see if you can listen to what I'm telling you to do. That's the question. Is Stevens going to figure it out before it's too late?
Well, I mean, I assume that he'll by beginning of March he'll start nailing down a playoff rotation. He seems to have taken a page out of Popovich's book as far as using the regular season as like a laboratory for your lineups and stuff like that. Not to mention, man, they've got probably 12 guys that would be in rotations on other teams. So he's got a lot of people that need minutes.
Absolutely. And by the way, we're on Periscope. Hey, give us some hearts. Let us know you're there. I love getting the
We
hearts.
actually got a question from Travis Martini on Periscope.
Oh, give
He
it.
asked if we're high on Crab, and he says he feels he needs more minutes. I think that we're both really high on Alan Crab. He can shoot and he plays legit defense.
And he's big.
Yeah, and he's big.
Long.
So yeah, we're both we've talked about him a couple times on the podcast. Which if you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Comes out every Monday. And yeah, we've talked about Crab quite a bit. We're both big fans, and yeah, he needs more minutes. And with Evan Turner out, there's opportunity there.
Well, okay, now that's an interesting thing, and so I think it's safe to say we both have the Crab, and I'm excited to see Evan Turner not playing. I think this is going to be a thing for them.
It sucks he got hurt.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't mean they got hurt.
Being.
But this is a wonderful opportunity for Crab to get back some more minutes and to get. There's just something off when he's playing, and it's supposedly it's worth a video, but it's more of a gut thing where I just don't like all that movement they got in the second quarter. They're getting all his cuts. Like it doesn't feel like it happens when he's out there. He dribbles too much. He doesn't cut like that. He wants to post up and slow it down. So that's the difference here. And I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they play a lot better. We'd look at the schedule to see how that's going to line up. They might be playing a lot of tough teams, but I wouldn't be surprised to see an uptick in play across the board for the Blazers going forward as Turner has to sit out from injury.
Yeah, Crab is great at moving the ball or making decisions, right? So Crab is fantastic at the three things you need to do in the NBA when you catch the ball. He can catch and shoot, he can catch and pass, and he can catch and drive to the hoop. And Turner has this tendency to catch, pause, let the defense catch up, and then dribble into a bad shot.
Yeah. Is he related to Blake Griffin? Because that's what Blake Griffin does. It's that because you know what, like Melo, there isn't like a pause. He kind of catches it as a jab, set, triple threat, that whole thing. But with Blake, he literally catches it and just sort of like pauses and stares and looks around and waits, and it's a really weird thing. And I can see when Evan Turner does it too. So it's a weird classification of player. Like we probably have how many positions are there really? Not 5. There's like 12 or something like that. I think Sloan had a paper on that, right? Well, the 13th position could be the guy that just catches it and holds it and stares and waits and lets the defense.
Well, that's
get back
the guy
on.
that's on the bench, man. Like that's how I feel about it. And unless you're a Carmelo Anthony level offensive player, right? Like he does that, but he's able to get away with it somehow. He can still do that and be effective, but he's rare. I mean, who else can do that like he does in the league? I don't know of anyone.
Absolutely. Well, let's look at the box score one last time before we leave here, because it looks like the halftime is wrapping up sooner than later. So far, the leading scorers for the Celtics, Isaiah Thomas, who had the 14 big points in the second quarter after only having 2 in the first. And that's like all she wrote for the Celtics. That's very indicative. A little bit more balance. We have Aminu with 13 points. What do you make of that?
Well, you know what? Aminu's having a really nice game. He had a really tough finish around the basket, and it was something I didn't even realize he had in his game. It showed really great concentration. I mean, I know everyone can pull something out, but this was a really tough finish inside against Horford and Amir Johnson.
Yeah, but he fumbled the dribble on the way, and he kind of it was almost more difficult than it needed to be, and maybe because it got so twisty, they're like, ew, and got away from him. Yeah. He kind of threw it in. But because you know what, and that's no secret, I'm not the biggest fan of Aminu's game overall. Although his defense is good, it's fine, but his offensive game has always lacked skill. And it's funny. I went on a podcast today with some of the guys, some Lakers guys, and I didn't get a chance to defend my Tariq Black analysis because all the Laker fans hate me. I just want to throw it out there because it's a similar thing there where he just has no offensive skills, and somehow that got bastardized or twisted into he's not an NBA player. And that's far from the truth. And Aminu is the same class there, where even though he doesn't have a lot of skill at all, he can shoot a little bit when he's wide open on a catch and shoot. He's an NBA player and he can be effective, but it just frustrates me because we're now 6-7 years into his career and there hasn't been enough improvement for me.
Okay, I can understand that. I like Aminu. I think he has improved his 3-point shooting, and he's always been a good defender. And he can switch out on threes. and guard fours with no problem. So
Okay.
he's
Well,
he's definitely better than a D leaguer.
yeah.
Whoever just said that on Periscope.
Uh-oh. Well, listen, we'll come right back here again for the post-game show, so stay tuned. Find us on Periscope through the Twitter feed. Find us on Facebook Live on Facebook easily enough, and then also on the YouTube channel. And make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. Let's get that built up. We're going to have all of our shows there, and everything we broadcast simultaneously across all these different places. We're only using 90% of my CPU right now. That's exciting. So make sure, don't go to sleep. Right when the game's over, come join us. We'll wrap up this game. And anything else, Dave?
No, let's see what Boston does in the third quarter. I'm really curious to see if they come out flat or if they've kind of reignited their offense.
Absolutely. Let's find out. Hopefully, we'll get a great game. And I know you're in, and so am I.